The AAP insists the BJP and the government are misusing the central agencies. They call it political witch hunt and vendetta. While till the courts of law decide conclusively on these cases and high-profile investigation, the blows shall be exchanged in the court of public perception, and each round shall be critical for the big battle of 2024. Our top focus on brass tacks tonight.
जो भी हुआ है, जो भी डीलिंग हुई है, वो अरविंद केजरीवाल के घर पर हुई, अरविंद केजरीवाल के कहने पर हुई। तो इस बात का जवाब तो अरविंद केजरीवाल को देना पड़ेगा।
दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री के खिलाफ, अरविंद जी के खिलाफ मोदी जी ने यह साजिश रचना शुरू कर दिया।
So why has the CBI summoned Arvind Kejriwal for questioning in the liquor scam case? The Enforcement Directorate's charge sheet claims that the accused Sameer Mahendru did a video call with the sitting Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. The remand note of another accused, Amit Arora, mentions Kejriwal's name. And Manish Sisodia's former PA claimed he was given the revised liquor policy report at Mr. Kejriwal's home. Let's tell you a bit more about this particular report. This report was allegedly given to Sisodia's former PA, C. Arvind. The report allegedly mentioned 12% margin for the wholesalers, which was an increase from the previous 6% margin. C. Arvind was allegedly told to implement the liquor policy based on this particular report. What the criticism has been that this hike from 6 to 12% was completely erroneous, and more importantly, there was no prior consultation which was held before the number was hiked from 6 to 12%. The 6% is the alleged kickback. Well, let's take this question to our guest as well, who are joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Manjinder Singh Sirsa from the BJP is with us on the broadcast. We also have Tushar Gupta, who's the senior editor of the Swaraj magazine, joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to both of you. Mr. Sirsa, coming to you first. I must ask you this question because the Aam Aadmi party said this in a press conference, that you are blatantly misusing the agencies. This is nothing but a political vendetta. You are out there to nab the opposition parties in the hunt, for electoral victories ahead of 2024.
So, while we talk about this particular case, I must apprise you, this is the same Arvind Kejriwal who used to say कि अगर कानून होता तो लालू प्रसाद यादव आज जेल में होते, who used to say कि ये शरद पवार सबसे करप्ट हैं, या पी चिदम्बरम सबसे बेईमान हैं, या मिस्टर देन लॉ मिनिस्टर वो सबसे करप्ट हैं, और ये उन लोगों के साथ आज गले मिलकर कहें कि वो सब ईमानदार हो गए, तो वी आर नॉट एट फॉल्ट. इट इज अरविंद केजरीवाल फॉल्ट. नाउ द पर्सन हु यूज्ड टू फील कि ये सब लोग करप्ट हैं, द मोस्ट करप्ट पीपल हु आर बीन अरेस्टेड एंड कन्विक्टेड बाय CBI, टुडे दे आर क्लीन फॉर अरविंद केजरीवाल. उससे उसने कि दूध के धुले हो गए, उनको गले जाके मिलते हैं. एंड नाउ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस केस. ही सेज इट्स अ वेंडेटा. सी, इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल क्लीन केस. Arvind Kejriwal, being a chief minister, is the only chief minister of this country who is not signing a single file, single document. Why? Because he knew that the money he's collecting may be from a liquor scam, from a bus scam, from a school scam, or from a power scam. One day he has to pay it. He has to pay for that. And that's the reason he's not signing any document. And when you come to this particular case, Arvind Kejriwal was the one who constituted the group of ministers committee to make this excise policy. So the three ministers were in this group of ministers committee. One was Manish Sisodia ji, Stender Jain ji, and the transport minister, Mr. Gehlot. So these three ministers constituted a committee. They decided that this is the policy. This policy was actually a tailor-made policy, and that was not drafted by the department. In fact, it was drafted by the people who have interest in this liquor, who are close friends of Arvind Kejriwal. They drafted this policy. They sent this policy through WhatsApp to Minister Manish Sisodia, and then Arvind Kejriwal has handed over that this is the policy and this is the draft, and you have to implement this policy. I'm not saying this. This is C. Arvind, the Danik officer, who before the magistrate has given this statement. The second most important statement here is Mr. Dinesh Arora. Now, who is the Dinesh Arora? Is the BJP guy? No. He is the close associate of Arvind Kejriwal, whom Arvind Kejriwal used to visit on his birthday, on his son's birthday, used to post his pictures with Mr. Dinesh Arora, and suddenly, when the question of this policy arose, he immediately deleted all that pictures. What forced Arvind Kejriwal to delete that pictures? And now what Dinesh Arora is saying, he said कि ये policy जो थी ये साउथ के लोगों के कहने पे बनाई गई, उन्होंने 100 करोड़ रुपए एडवांस दिया, वो एडवांस हमने यहाँ भेजा, इस आदमी के माध्यम से भेजा. And very interestingly, I must tell you one thing, one of the stakeholder in Delhi business had given his 2/3 business to Mr. Arun Pillai,
And Mr. Sirsa, the details that you're putting out, a lot of those details find mention in the FIR and the first round of charge sheet that has been filed. Tushar, I'm coming to you. Well, the political discourse is very sharply divided. On one side, you have the BJP, which says that there are, I can hear one of my guests humming. That's a good humming, but can we continue with the debate, please? All right. Tushar, I'm coming to you. Taking in a view from you, well, the political lines are very clearly drawn. On one side, you have the BJP, which goes on to say that, look, we're not misusing the central agencies. The opposition says, yes, there's been a misuse of the central agencies. None of these leaders, especially from the Aam Aadmi Party, whether it's Satyendra Jain, whether it's Manish Sisodia, they've not been able to secure any kind of relief from a court of law. So this entire argument that this is a political witch hunt and a vendetta, there is no prima facie evidence, at least with the courts, even in securing bail, it has not found much merit. Tushar. Am I audible to you, Tushar? Can you hear me? We'll fix that audio. Siddharth Sharma, the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, is finally with us on the broadcast. Siddharth ji, thank you so much for speaking with us. Well, there's a clear argument that the BJP makes. They argue that if these cases are fabricated, there is nothing on record to prove that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal or Manish Sisodia has done anything wrong. Take that before a court of law and get the FIR quashed. But you cannot evade the due process of law. They call this entire optics of being misused, central agencies being misused. This is a witch hunt of, claiming to be political victims while you have done something wrong. Siddharth ji.
Who said, are you saying that, Anusha, that Aam Aadmi Party has done something wrong?
Who am I to say that, sir? Only courts will tell us that.
Fine, good enough. Then
Yes.
obviously Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has already said that he'll be cooperating with the agencies. The question right now, you are also saying that the BJP is also saying that if there is no relief from the court of law, then there must have been something wrong. Then that also holds good for Veer Savarkar and Bhagat Singh in India, because they were also hoisted with cases of breaking this nation by the British. So let's not get into that. The courts will do its the courts are supposed to dispense justice according to law, and they will do it in the due course. The question here is very simple, that if Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is being summoned by the CBI on the prima facie case that some bureaucrat deemed him, then isn't it also true that Mr. Adani follows the Prime Minister of India on his foreign jaunts? Then the Prime Minister is also liable to be investigated by a JPC. How can you have one law for the Chief Minister of a nation and another law for the Prime Minister of a nation? Just like Aam Aadmi Party is saying that Arvind Kejriwal has done nothing wrong, and the courts will say it, and you are saying that the BJP is saying that if Arvind Kejriwal has done nothing wrong, let the court say it. The same holds good for the Prime Minister also, because Adani and the Prime Minister's hobnobbing.
Mr. Sirsa, I'll come to you. Mr. Sirsa, I'll come to you.
Yeah. Adani and the Prime Minister hobnobbing together is public knowledge. And after the Hindenburg report and lakhs and crores of rupees of Adani going down the drain, isn't it also appropriate that the Prime Minister...
Siddharth, allow me an interjection. Siddharth, allow me an interjection. While the opposition, as a leader of the opposition opposed to the BJP at the central level, at the union level, Aam Aadmi Party, Congress or any other political party has the right to ask BJP any question they deem fit in the larger public interest. You have done it on the floor of the House. You have done it in the public domain. Very good. Right now, I'm asking you some very specific questions because this pertains to the liquor policy scam. The argument that the BJP is making is that the Aam Aadmi Party has just one defense. Look, this is political witch hunt. Look, this is vendetta. If all of this is true, then why aren't you able to secure even bail from the courts of law? Mr. Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, all of them have been booked and none of them have been able to secure any kind of bail or relief from the special courts.
At the cost of repetition, Anusha, I will say that Bhagat Singh and Veer Savarkar
Sir,
also did not.
Okay,
daily
without
reach,
going into the political... Siddharji, one second, because you repeated your argument. Siddharji, एक minute. Siddharji, without getting into the political grandeur of the status of Bhagat Singh or any other great leader of this country, those were examples of a pre-independent India when the British was ruling this country. Are you comparing that law and order and that constitutional scheme with a modern, independent, democratic India, sir? Is that the comparison you're drawing?
You just drew it perfect analogy. That is exactly what is happening. The law is being abused just like the Britishers abused law. There is a law and there is an abuse of law. There is a matchbox can be used to cook somebody's food and the same matchbox can be used to burn somebody's house.
Substantiate
BJP
that,
is
sir.
Using it and that is
Substantiate that, sir. Substantiate that. That's what I want to know. If the BJP is doing it, substantiate that.
I am substantiating it by saying, Anusha, that if the law is same for everyone, why doesn't the Prime Minister also agree to a JPC and get a similar kind of clean check from JPC? You don't want to get into JPC.
Okay.
After lakhs and crores of rupees going down the drain of the exchequer, and you are harassing opponents right from Telangana to Tamil Nadu to Delhi. This is
Siddharji, at the risk of repetition, you have not answered my question. I'll come back to you. Tushar, I'll just come to you. I want to bring in Mr. Sirsa as well because he wanted to respond. Then I'll go to Tushar and then I'll bring in Mr. Shantanu Sen as well. Mr. Sirsa, the opposition has one question and I'm sure the BJP will answer it point blank. Why is it that all the investigations are against these high-profile opposition leaders? There are various leaders from the opposition camps which had cases pending against them with the CBI and ED. Once they jumped the ship, now there is no investigation happening against them. Well, if this is not pick and choose, then what is? Mr. Sirsa.
Anushka, that will be wrong to suggest this. That will be wrong to suggest that the people who have joined BJP, no investigation is getting through. There is no investigation going on for them. I think that will be wrong to suggest. Secondly, most importantly, which we need to understand one thing, even in case, if for the sake of argument, let's compare that they say the investigation band hogi, there is a court of law, they can move to the court and say that the investigation has been stopped against the such and such accused and the court will take appropriate action. But now what's happening here is, neither they have trust on court. In the case of Adani also, the Supreme Court has constituted a committee, but they don't have a trust on Supreme Court. They don't have a trust on ED. They don't have a trust on Election Commission. They don't have trust on people. People will elect the government, but they don't have a trust. Arvind Kejriwal खुद ही वकील हैं, खुद ही जज हैं, खुद ही अक्यूज हैं और खुद ही क्लीन चिट देते हैं. अब बड़ा एक सिंपल है, अगर ये सच है, अनुज प्लीज मेरे को आप बात करें दे. देखो मैंने आपकी बात में काटा नहीं, मेरी हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है. मैं समझ सकता हूँ आज आपके ऊपर बहुत विपत्ता आई है, आपकी करप्शन एक्सपोज हुई है, so I can very well understand. So Anushka, the thing is,
सिद्धार्थ जी मैं आपके पास आऊंगी, आपको पूरा समय दूंगी. सिद्धार्थ जी मैं आपके पास आऊंगी, पूरा समय दूंगी.
Can you compare एक आदमी जो शराब घोटाले में, नशा के घोटाले में जेल में गया हो, आप उसको भगत सिंह के साथ कंपैरिजन करते हैं, और हमारी जुडिशरी जिसको अब आप ब्रिटिश जुडिशरी के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं केवल इसलिए क्योंकि आप करप्ट लोगों को बचाना चाहते हैं, बेईमान लोगों को बचाना चाहते हैं. तो मेरा आपसे आग्रह है सिद्धार्थ जी, हमारी इस जुडिशरी को ब्लेम मत करें, हमारी जुडिशरी को ब्लेम मत करें. आई हम्बली रिक्वेस्ट यू सिद्धार्थ जी, आई हम्बली रिक्वेस्ट यू, हमारी जुडिशरी जो है.
एक मिनट रुक जाइए.
Mr. Sirsa, please. Mr. Sirsa, आप इतने फ्रस्ट्रेटेड क्यों हैं? See, Anushka, we should not compare the British judiciary, वो जो गुलाम, वो हमारा देश गुलाम था, उनका कंपैरिजन हम अपनी जुडिशरी के साथ करें, हमारे सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट के साथ उनका गुलामी वाली का ये कंपैरिजन अच्छा नहीं है. इसका मतलब हम अपनी जुडिशरी पे विश्वास खत्म हो गया इनका. और अभी आप कहें कि कोर्ट हमें रिलीफ ना दे, जब कोर्ट आपको रिलीफ दे नहीं रही फिर भी आप ईमानदार हैं, कोर्ट आपको सजा सुनाए फिर भी आप ईमानदार हैं. अब ये पैमाना कहां से देश में लेके आए? शराब आप बेचें, 2% से 12% आप कमीशन कर दें और उसमें 200 करोड़ रुपया आप लें, 100 करोड़ रुपया एडवांस लें। जिन लोगों ने पैसा लिया वो सरकारी बंगलों में रहें। विजय नायर, अभी तो अरविंद केजरीवाल कहते थे हम छोटे छोटे घर में रहेंगे, अब इनका एक स्टाफ का आदमी विजय नायर, वो एक मिनिस्ट्रियल बंगले में रहता है। अगर वो स्कैम नहीं कर रहा था, आपको नहीं जानता था, तो कैलाश गहलोत के बंगले में कैसे रह रहा था? और आप ही के लोग, दिनेश अरोड़ा ने कोर्ट के सामने जाके 164 में बयान दिए, वेरी एडमिटेड, कि मैंने इतने पैसे कलेक्ट किए, इतने पैसे मनीष जी को दिए, इतने पैसे अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को दिए, इतने पैसे गोवा भेजे, इतने पैसे गुजरात भेजे। अब आप बता दें अरविंद केजरीवाल शुड कम आउट।
Mr. Tushar Gupta and Shantanu Sen. Tushar, first you had a point to make that point. But more importantly, I also want to talk to you about the optics of how this really comes out. Well, I don't believe in this political balancing and whataboutery in criminal investigations. If the CBI has a case in front of them, they're going to investigate it. That's what they're doing right now. There is no way to conclusively settle the debate that whether this is political witch hunt or vendetta unless we have a final verdict coming in from the court. But that being said, at least in the optics of it, it seems like that most of the major opposition leaders are under the scanner of the central agencies, and that is what the opposition parties are saying. Tushar.
Well, Anusha, let me tell you an interesting fact.
Yeah.
The Aam Aadmi Party has proven that it's not political vendetta. The case that is being investigated, the Aam Aadmi Party has proven it before the Supreme Court that it's not political vendetta. Because when Manish Sisodia was arrested, the Aam Aadmi Party's legal team approached the Apex Court. They got a date, they got a hearing, and not once, Anusha, not once did they say that the case against them was that of political vendetta or violation of their fundamental rights.
Yeah.
Not once before the court did they say this. Instead, you know what they said? They said, we're happy to cooperate in the investigation. We understand there is a case, but we would want Manish Sisodia to just be summoned for questioning and not arrested. So the Aam Aadmi Party today cannot claim it's political vendetta. Number two, this Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson who was talking about Veer Savarkar and Bhagat Singh, Sirsa ji spoke about Bhagat Singh, I'll talk about Veer Savarkar. Do you know, Anusha, last year in July 2022, what Arvind Kejriwal said to the BJP while mocking them politically? Tum log Savarkar ki aulad ho. That is what Arvind Kejriwal thought of Veer Savarkar, and today his spokesperson is citing him to make a case for himself. Number three, at the end of the day, Arvind Kejriwal has only been summoned for questioning. Why is the Aam Aadmi Party pronouncing guilt by saying this is political vendetta? Maybe he's there to aid the cause of the case, maybe to find a solution, maybe to find the actual culprits. Why does the Aam Aadmi Party always believe that one of the people, if ever called for questioning, it is because they are guilty? And number four, and the final point, you might cite political vendetta, you might cite violation of fundamental rights, but you cannot deny there was an excise policy introduced, there were changes made in the excise policy, and the excise policy was withdrawn just when an investigation was ordered. So you can make all the philosophical comments.
I will go
the
back.
facts
I'll
are
go
against
back
you.
to the Aam Aadmi Party and Siddharth Sharma and taking a view. But before that, Mr. Shantanu Sen, with the details that have emerged in the public domain, and with the fact that Mr. Sisodia and Mr. Satyendra Jain, the former ministers of the Delhi government, have not been able to secure a bail so far from a court of law, prima facie, in your understanding, is there a plausible case for the agency to pursue? Mr. Sen.
When they filed an FIR,
Yes.
they had a case. See, the question of vendetta has arisen, and I can tell you it has arisen only because the power of the CBI to ab initio collect information and register a case is no longer there. From 6 July 2018,
Yeah.
it is not CBI who takes a decision to investigate. The decision is taken by the government of the day, as far as CBI is concerned, and as for anti-corruption department in the state, by the anti-corruption departments of the day. Who passed this law? The parliamentarians did, and nobody has questioned that. Now the Aam Aadmi Party is saying that because the investigation was ordered not by the CBI, but by the government, by the LG and the Home Ministry, it's vendetta because they are ruling party. Well, the time will come when AAP may be the ruling party. The AAP will turn the tables on their party. So this vendetta politics, and another point which I would like to say,
Sure.
please don't take bail orders and the contents of the bail orders as any proof of guilt.
Absolutely.
Supreme Court has many times said that all bail orders are only as far as bail is concerned.
Yeah.
they will not count for guilt.
Yes.
So any party, whether it is the Aam Aadmi Party or whether it is the BJP spokesman or whether it is you yourself
Sure.
who is suggesting that a bail order, not getting bail, is a matter of guilt. No.
So,
The
Mr.
law-
Sen,
law
I
says-
want to clarify one thing here.
The law
I
says
do not
that
believe,
as
and
long as
I
it
agree
is
with you
guilty,
there, that whatever is
as
said in a
long-
bail order is not the reflection on the merits of the case. And
Exactly.
whenever there is an acquittal or a pronouncement of guilt of a particular accused, the bail orders or what is said in the bail orders is not any kind of proof before a court of law.
Therefore, don't argue on the bail orders.
I'm coming to that, sir, the point that I was trying to make. But under PMLA and under various sections under which Mr. Satendra
No,
Jain
we are
and Mr. Manish
discussing
Sisodia.
CBI.
So one
We
second,
are discussing police investigation.
there's also an ED case against Mr. Sisodia in which he has not been able to secure bail. The same is true for Mr. Satendra Jain as well, sir. And under those offences, unless the court comes to a prima facie assessment that you're not guilty, you're not granted a bail. So this
Okay.
that's entire
that-
argument that there is no proof. If that were true, it would hold in a
But
court
let
of
us-
law and you would
let
get a
us
bail.
wait-
That was my
Let
argument.
us wait for the court to pronounce a verdict. And that will take some time. But this assertion by either the Aam Aadmi or by the BJP that guilt, vendetta, it is not there. You have passed a law giving powers to the government to register case. You parliamentarians have done it. Now the power has been exercised. So don't blame the government.
Okay, before I
Your-
go to Mr. Sirsa and ask him questions about the political will behind these investigations, Siddharth Sharma ji, I'm coming back to you. And I will insist on the question that I asked earlier. If prima facie there is no ground for this FIR to be registered, this entire case is bogus without any evidence to back this investigation, then there should have been application that should have been moved for quashing of this case. We have not seen that investigation or that kind of application come before any court, whether it's the High Court or the Supreme Court. So while in the public domain, the Aam Aadmi Party has been maintaining this narrative, you haven't really backed it with proper legal actions.
I think Anusha, Shantanu Senji has already answered your question that the present law
I don't think
states
so.
that the political parties, especially the government of the day, has extreme rights, has extreme privileges in initiating investigation on any citizen of India. And it is now very clear that after day before yesterday, Nitish Kumar meeting Arvind Kejriwal and an opposition unity and the BJP is so spooked by Aam Aadmi Party. Please, Aam Aadmi Party has just become a national party 3 days ago. Mr. Nitish Kumar comes and meets Mr. Kejriwal. The opposition unity is on the cards. It is a very clear case, as Mr. Shantanu sir has very clearly enunciated, that this
You
is a clear
forget to
case
name
of
Lalu
witch-
Yadav.
And if it is not a case of witch hunt, if Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is under investigation for prima facie issues, then same prima facie issues are on the PM also regarding his hobnobbing with Adani. Why doesn't he get into a JPC probe with that? It is as simple as that. I've answered all your questions.
Mr. Sirsa, there's a point which is raised by Mr. Shantanu Sen. It's a very pertinent point and it should be raised directly to the BJP. There is absolutely the necessity of a political will whenever these high-profile investigations are initiated and pursued by a premier agency like a CBI or an enforcement directorate. You cannot deny the existence and support of this political will to pursue cases of this nature. That is why in the case of Lalu Prasad Yadav, an investigation has been reopened. That is why we saw in the 1984 anti-Sikh riots case, multiple cases have been opened and now they are coming to a logical conclusion. Is there a political will in some way to nab the opposition leaders? That is what is being argued indirectly. I'm putting it directly to you. Mr. Sirsa.
Okay, thank you. Sure. Now the thing is, there are two different aspects. One is somebody is involved some kind of a crime and by the way of the interference of a government or by the way of the advocate general or somebody who can influence the system. Another thing is somebody is innocent who has nothing to do with anything and he is implicated. That is simply impossible. Everybody on this channel will agree to me. There is a High Court, there is a Supreme Court, there is a set of law here. An innocent person, and that too with the stature of a Chief Minister, is implemented without any evidence, without a out of evidence. That is simply impossible. And if it is so, then Aam Aadmi Party is blaming the judiciary, not me or not the BJP, because they have never moved to the judiciary to quash this FIR, which you quoted. If there is no case, then why they went to the court to quash this FIR? Secondly, now they say that bail prima facie batata nahi hai, but bail is also decided on whether the prima facie it looks that is involved or not involved. May it be a CBI, ED, any other criminal agency. You cannot simply pass away by saying कि bail का तो इससे मतलब ही कोई नहीं है. Bail has to be granted on what format? Yes, this man looks like prima facie it is not involved in this, or there is not a sufficient evidence to prove that he could be a guilty. Putting somebody behind the jail, no judiciary will ever do that. Not even a single judge on this country, on this system will do it, put somebody in a jail because he is innocent and somebody is put behind bars. That is simply impossible. And when it comes to a person like Manish Sisodia, Satinder Jain went to one judge, went to High Court. Now they are planning to move to Supreme Court. Manish Sisodia went to Supreme Court. Immediately they withdraw their application because they knew that what they're going to ask from Supreme Court, there is a sufficient evidence and it will be placed before the Supreme Court. What stopped them? But then Supreme Court said what? They said you go to High Court. Did they move to High Court? No. Why? Because they knew that there is evidence, and when the evidence will be recorded, they will be unable to answer the questions of the agency.
Siddharji, there are 14 opposition parties that went to the Supreme Court and said that the opposition, is feeling victimized, and these are central agencies which are being misused by the government of the day. The Supreme Court must do something. The court said, look, the law of the land has to be same for everyone and we cannot create any special provisions for you. Then that petition was withdrawn. The withdrawal of that petition actually states that all these arguments made in the political discourse about witch hunt, vendetta, do not really have a legal merit in a court of law. And I want to take that point that Mr. Sirsa just made. Is it about having the right faith in the institutions of this country? Because you hail the judiciary when the verdicts are in your favor, but because right now the verdicts are not in your favor, suddenly it's the reminder of the colonial times.
I think, Anusha, everyone knows that in India, justice is dispensed according to law of the land presently in force. So that explains everything. And as far as Supreme Court saying something about the 14 political parties, yesterday Supreme Court also castigated the central government for hoisting national security issues on everyone. So it's the Supreme Court has also taken to task BJP and the central government on many occasions.
So, can I add? No, one second. Siddharji, can I add to your argument? In a very high-profile investigation concerning one of the opposition leaders, Mr. Sanjay Raut, when he was arrested on some serious charges, and these were similar sections of the PMLA, the court in fact granted him bail within 2 to 3 months. And in that bail order, there were observations of the judge which recorded that prima facie doesn't look like that there is a watertight case that has been made against them. And in fact, you can find many other cases which are not so high profile in which bail has been granted where court has come to a prima facie conclusion that there is no evidence on record. If that were the case, that would apply to you as well, sir.
Yes, it would apply to us because in India, the courts do not run on a calendar. A court in Mumbai and a court in Delhi would not run according to a single calendar. There are stages. And when that stage reaches, I am sure that not just Aam Aadmi Party, any citizen of India who is aggrieved, the government of the day, be it Congress during Indira Gandhi's regime or the present regime of the BJP, if it is going to misuse the agencies, the judiciary will automatically, at the appropriate stage of the hearing.
Then why you are worried? No, but then what is your worry? So if you are innocent, then what is your worry? If you believe that judiciary will come before you, then what is your worry?
One at a time. No speaking over each other. Mr. Sirsa, please allow him to make
Why are you so
Sir,
scared
I'll
of
come to
the
you.
case?
Sir, with due respect. सिद्धार्थ जी इत्मीनान से और आराम से अपना आर्गुमेंट रखिए.
No, but the Supreme Court had said na. But there is a Supreme Court investigation going. But there is a Supreme Court committee constituted by the Supreme Court.
Let Siddharth ji finish his arguments. I'll come to you. Sirsa ji, I'll come to you. Siddharth, 30 seconds to you. Siddharth ji, 30 seconds to you.
Yeah, when Mr. Sirsa ji time and again invokes the faith in judiciary, I am also invoking Mr. Sirsa's faith in the parliamentary democracy of this nation, that why doesn't he subscribe to a Adani JPC on the PMO? It is as simple as that.
All right, I have last 1 minute on the show. Mr. Sirsa, 30 seconds to you, then I'll give the final word to Tushar. Yes, Mr. Sirsa.
Anusha, as they are talking about Adani, I think they should have a faith in the judiciary, that is Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court has constituted a committee. If anything wrong is there, it will come out. So why are you blaming a judiciary? Why are you blaming a Supreme Court or saying that you don't have a trust in Supreme Court? Let Supreme Court decide, and if there would be any investigation necessary, they will put through it. So please have faith in judiciary. I must request you, because it's Aam Aadmi Party doesn't mean that you will have no trust in judiciary, you have no trust in the Election Commission, you have no trust in President of India, you will have no trust in ED, CBI. Please,
Just like
I
you don't
humbly
have any
request
trust
you,
in the
as a
Parliamentary
constitutionally,
Democracy of India, and
you
you are
took
running
an
away
oath.
from a
You took
All
an
right,
oath
last
to
30
honor
seconds
the
I have on the
Constitution.
show. Tushar,
You took
Tushar,
an
you have a
oath,
point
so
to
I
make.
humbly
Tushar,
request you,
Tushar
please
Gupta,
have faith.
Tushar
Please
Gupta,
have
please.
faith.
Tushar Gupta,
Anusha,
yes.
Anusha,
Corruption
let's
has done,
refresh.
you have to go to jail.
Siddharji,
You had made a money,
please,
now you have to go
let
to jail.
Tushar make his point.
If somebody had made a money by the way of corruption,
One
then he has
second,
to go
one
jail.
second, Mr. Sirsa,
If you have
Mr.
so
Sirsa
much
and
faith in the
Siddharji.
Parliamentary Democracy of India, go for a JPC or Adani JPC.
Siddharji, you've made that
Siddharji.
point. You've registered that point. You've registered that
Siddharji,
point. You have registered that
Siddharji.
point. Tushar.
Siddharji, for the record, you're on national television, so at least get your facts right when you come to a serious debate. Number two, Anusha, let's refresh the public memory, because here the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson was elaborating about how the BJP is scared. Siddharji, how many seats does the Aam Aadmi Party have in the Lok Sabha today? Please enlighten us. It's zero. Not even one seat. So no party has any reason to fear, but instead it's your party which has been indulging in corruption for a while in Delhi that really needs to introspect. That's all.
All right, I'm very short of time. That's all the time that I have. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal will appear before the Central Bureau of Investigation. Mr. Sirsa, Tushar Gupta, Siddharth Sharma and Shantanu Sen, thank you gentlemen for joining us today evening. And now on to another major story of the day. Former Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Karnataka, Laxman Savadi, joined the Congress after he was denied a ticket by the BJP. He is not a political misnomer. He served in various capacities within the BJP and in the government as well. His exit from the party and joining the opposition camp shows the deep resentment and discontent within the BJP ever since the party came out with its first list. Rebellions are plenty and could have political cost to it as the state is on the brink of elections. Will the BJP be able to control this implosion which is happening from within? First up, a special report.
From tears to defection. It's been a tumultuous 72 hours for former Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister Laxman Savadi. He was denied a ticket for the upcoming elections. He was eyeing the Athani Assembly constituency seat but was passed over for sitting MLA Mahesh Komathali. A miffed Savadi announced that he was going to part ways with the BJP. But before resigning formally, Savadi went and met the big guns in the Congress camp, Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar. In Congress, Savadi has got what he wanted, a ticket from Athani.
Definitely I am contesting in Athani constituency Congress party.
Savadi is a powerful Lingayat leader and was BJP's second most influential leader from the community after former Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa. In BJP's loss is Congress's gain.
This is the only condition that Saudi is made is that he should be treated properly. With all respect.
Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai acknowledged the exit, but said it's business as usual for the BJP.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡಿದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಕೆಲಸ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Savadi's exit comes at a time when there is growing discontent among BJP workers and leaders after the party left out more than a dozen sitting MLAs to make way for fresh faces. But will the defections cost the BJP in the upcoming elections?
Well, will the defections cost the BJP and help the opposition like the Congress? But Laxman Savadi has a controversial past in the BJP. In 2012, when he was made a minister, he was caught watching a pornographic video in the assembly. He later claimed that he was watching the clip for educational purposes to know more about the rave parties because the assembly was going to discuss a rave party scandal in Bengaluru. He stepped down as the minister at the time, but the Congress had demanded that he be removed as an MLA, the same party which he is joined right now. But in 2019, he was rewarded with the post of Deputy Chief Minister in Yediyurappa government for his efforts in destabilizing the Congress-JDS coalition. Let's also take a look at the BJP's growing list of desertions. There have been many. Three-time MLA and former Deputy Chief Minister Laxman Savadi has joined the Congress party and will contest from Athani. After being denied a ticket, Minister and six-time BJP MLA S. Angara quit politics and said he will not campaign for the BJP. Mudigere MLA MP Kumaraswamy too quit the party after not being given a ticket. He has joined the JDS. MLA Nehru Olekar, he's quit the BJP after not getting a ticket. He also claimed that thousands of BJP workers have resigned from the primary membership of the party. BJP leader Shekhar, he's also resigned from the primary membership of the BJP after he was denied a ticket. The list is long. BJP MLC R. Shankar too resigned after the ruling party ignored his request for a ticket to contest the elections. While the list is long, the discontentment has been growing and it seems deep. Joining us on the broadcast is Anand Gurumurthy from the Karnataka BJP. We also have Aishwarya Mahadev from the Congress party. T.R. Prasad Gaura from the JDS is also with us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. Anandji, coming to you first, taking a view from you. Laxman Savadi is not just anyone. This was a leader that you had got into your party. He was very crucial when the Congress-JDS government was brought down and the BJP formed its government in the state. His exit is a clear indication of a deep discontent within the party. How will the BJP handle this implosion, sir?
See, it is a known fact that people will feel bad when their name doesn't turn up. And this is known to us because we are a political party which has been in politics from a very long time. We don't like this part of discontentment that is going on, but unfortunately it happens because there are only 224 seats and we can only give to 224 people. BJP has done what it has always been doing, giving fresh people, people who are younger, a chance to work with the political framework of the country. And Mr. Laxman Savadi understands this, but yet he is unhappy with it. So no personal comments on him. As our Chief Minister has wished him, Basavaraj Bommai has wished him, we also wish him good luck. But at the same time, BJP is very clear of coming back to power, and we are going to ensure a development-oriented state politics in the coming days. And that's what we are eyeing at, and we are definitely going to win this election with a massive mandate.
But sir, if it was just about Savadi, I would have understood. I just read out a list of names and these are only just few people. Usually the BJP is one party which is known for internal discipline, for holding the flock together and controlling these rebellions. This implosion of sorts in many ways is unprecedented within the BJP. It also points out to the fact that somewhere at the level of leadership, the messaging is not the manner in which the communication should have happened, and the elections are so close. These are leaders, the disgruntled leaders who are joining the Congress and the JDS. They could benefit them at the last minute.
As I said, with due respect to all of them, it has happened in the last minute is maybe their complaint, but we had to release a list of 189 people and it was released. So it could not be like, we could have gone to them and communicated. They must understand that it is in the interest of nation and party and also in the growth of our country. So I'm sure they will understand this and start helping us out with whatever way they can. Otherwise also, it's very clear from our party side and from the Parivar side that it has to be like this in the future. We have to ensure that fresh blood comes into the stream and, the country moves forward in a faster pace. We are having many challenges across the globe as we see the technology is improving. Along with it, a lot of new things are coming. We cannot just hold on to only certain things or certain leaders and then say they are unhappy. So to keep them happy, we will keep them here. No, we cannot do that. All these people who are now telling against the party also know this very well. They are the people who taught us all this. So they must understand this better. And they should come back to the party and strengthen it further. That's all is my request.
Aishwarya, Laxman Savadi is in the Congress party. He's also got a ticket from the Athani constituency where he wanted to contest from. And this is the man who was also in some way responsible for destabilizing the Congress-JDS government. This is also a person who was caught watching pornographic content in assembly. He has a controversial past. So is it just electoral gains which is guiding the strategy of the Congress party and not the political ideas of equity and justice that the Congress party talks about?
Good evening, Anusha. I think primarily the fact of the matter remains that the BJP today has absolutely no value for those who built the party. Rather, they are prioritizing the people who they bought to the party because Mahesh Kumtali was one of the people who was the MLAs that along with Ramesh Jarkiholi moved on to destabilize the government, who was our MLA, destabilized the government and subsequently became part of the BJP combine. Today, the situation is such. You cannot deny the fact that Mr. Laxman Savadi is a large Lingayat face in North Karnataka, one. Second, his treatment has been very, very shoddy. A lot of the BJP leaders, I must say Anand has been very gracious about it. A lot of the BJP leaders have been saying that he's been opportunistic. Oh, we did not want him anyway. No, you cannot deny the fact that he is influential, one. And second, he is very pained by the fact that he was promised a ticket after the by-election. He was consistently spoken about to be given a ticket. He was also deciding tickets for other people. So there was a clear lack of communication, or rather completely being sidelined in this case that has led to this situation. But he is not the only one. There are several leaders that to whom that this has happened as well. To the Congress party, we did not run after anybody. We did not pursue anybody. He came to us with base.
There were Congress leaders who escorted him to the airport and brought for a meeting. I mean, you can't say that the Congress party wasn't pursuing him. They were.
One second, if somebody comes to the Congress party and asks for a meeting, then obviously there are leaders who are going to bring them there. Let's not talk logistics as a point of who reached out to whom, Anusha, first. But the second thing is, when he reached out, his singular promise was this: I am a sitting MLC. And he gave up that. And he said, all I want is for one thing, that you bring irrigation projects and complete irrigation projects that you've promised to give the people of North Karnataka, which I had voiced internally within BJP meetings that caused a lot of dissension. And today I want you to prioritize and promise me that. And then the conversation of a ticket happened. And there was no open, forthcoming, we will offer you this if you come to us just because you're a dissident, was not the manner in which things have happened, Anusha. Today, the reality of politics is this. You talk about this one man coming over. This is the BJP party that has given a ticket in Chittapur to a man who is known to be stealing Annabhagya, or rather PDS rice, and polishing it and selling it off, and is called Chawal Chor, and is Gadipar in his own seat. So there is not much that they can also say about it. But at the end of the day, we welcome Mr. Savadi. We also welcome people willing to take on the ideology of the Congress and work for the party. There is no, as long as there is no expectation that they will be accommodated and whatnot, he has decided to make the change, and we wish him all the very best in the Congress.
All right, I want to take off the Lingayat factor that you spoke of. He's an influential Lingayat leader. T.R. Prasad Gaura, a lot of disgruntled leaders from the BJP have also turned to the JDS. And JDS is known, at least in their final list, to give space to such leaders. BJP loss is your gain. What are the fortunes you're expecting in this big battle of Karnataka? And do you think that the BJP will be able to control this implosion, or there could be far more exits?
As a matter of fact, we wanted to come to power on our own, without expecting others to support us. This is the agenda of this 2023 elections. We want simple majority on our own, without anybody's support or we supporting others. The mandate now. So people are coming from to JDS from Congress and from BJP, that sitting MLAs. Today, 2-3 sitting MLAs have joined our party. We welcome them. And it is an added advantage, and they understood very well that JDS is going to give a good governance in future, because whenever Kumaraswamy ruled state of Karnataka, he ruled transparently with clean hand, and given a good program to the people, common people. They understood with Kumaraswamy we can sustain. So they are coming to our party. We are welcoming, and for sure, certainly 2023 will be JDS. Will come to power. Kumaraswamy will become the Chief Minister for full time, 5 years.
Anand Gurumurthy, the exits from the BJP and the manner in which the implosion is happening is making your political opponents far more confident. You cannot deny the fact that when it comes to the state government, there are multiple issues that have plagued the BJP, including the ticket selection. It took its own time, and even after the list is out, there are various people who are disgruntled. You might say that this is the run-of-the-mill issue. It happens each time there's a list out. But keeping in mind the political heavyweights and the number of people who are miffed miffed with you. As it was pointed out, Mr. Savadi, Laxman Savadi is a Lingayat heavyweight. This is a community, this is a sect that each political party wants on its side. You cannot let this slip away.
See, basically, to tell about Lingayat community, even I'm from the same community, and we have a lot of leaders from that community. We have due respect for the person who has left our party. We have nothing to say against him. But let me tell you, we have done a lot of research on this, a lot of survey on this, and based on that, the names are being selected. We are very clear in our party now. See, we have bought this from 2014, a big change in our organization, okay, because of which many senior leaders had stepped down and they had to move away and give opportunities to youngsters. This is something which the people have liked. And this is something the other parties must also start doing, because it is something which the country needs. The younger people taking over reins of things, and more younger people in the system also makes it more.
But sir, the opposition is criticizing you and saying you're bringing in younger people and new faces because your earlier faces have not been able to deliver on the promises, and people are unhappy with them. And that's why you have to get the new faces.
Not like that. That way, do you say every the officers are retired at 60 age, and some lecturing profession people and judges are retired at 65, 70? There is a reason, right? Similarly, everywhere there should be some age limit and some limits, of how many times a person can serve. This is something which was talked around in the Indian political space from a very long time. Everybody says in the United States of America, the president is only for 2 times. After that, is not given an opportunity. But in India, anything can happen. So those things should change. Everywhere it should start coming. And BJP has brought that change in many other states. We have won with very big margin, and without doing survey, BJP has not done. People want it also. People don't want the same leader always being their representative. They want a change also. So based on this and based on the people's request and the Karyakarta's request, this has been done. So BJP has always been a party of difference, and we are doing this. And whatever you call as implosion and other things, it's not like that, okay? And all these leaders also will understand and come back to us. That is our...
well, while you talk about giving new faces and new kind of leadership, and similar things has been said by the Congress and JDS in the past, Aishwarya, there are various issues on which the Congress party, especially on the development agenda, on the corruption scandal, you've questioned the government, rightly so. That's your job as the principal opposition party in the state. But if the opposition is so strong on its narrative and the development agenda, why would you have to repose faith in a person like Laxman Savadi, who had ditched the party, who has a dubious and a checkered past, keeping his controversial activities that I just put out, just because he comes from a certain community and enjoys a certain sway on the vote bank?
Anusha, before I answer that, I just want to highlight one thing that, Anand spoke about how new leaders need to come in. There's an age of retirement. Apparently, it exists for everybody else except Mr. Yediyurappa when you needed him, and then you've decided to dispose of him. One. The second thing is, there is a simple thing. You say you're talking about a survey, you're talking about accommodating others, but all these MLAs that have spoken out have spoken out about being kept completely in the dark. Whether it was the Puttur MLA or whether it was the Sulia MLA, whether it's Mr. Savadi, whether it's Mr. Golihatti Shekhar, whether it's Mr. Nehru Olekar, who, mind you, has made allegations of 1,500 crores of bribery from the CM himself in Shigao in a case. All of these people said the BJP lacked the basic respect that if they were replacing us, we weren't known. One. Second thing is, Anusha, it's very simple. We have tall Lingayat faces ourselves. We are not denying it. We do not believe that the Lingayat community is any longer with the BJP with the way that they've shoddily treated former Chief Minister Mr. Yediyurappa. And the fact remains that it was not political posturing, that it was a leader of certain prominence. It is not only his caste, it is the fact that, the region that Kittur, Karnataka, the region that he comes from, also he has sizable influence. We did not go pursuing him. He decided that this was the change that he needed to make because he was deeply disrespected. Somebody said he's no longer popular. If you look at the rally he had in Atani yesterday, if I was Mahesh Kumtali, I would be shivering in my boots for the fact that was the support of the people that he's come from, and this was the advice of his workers. We cannot fault him. We wish him all the very best, and we hope for a party that is already on a way to script a legendary victory, that these people will just add to our margin. That's about it.
All right, Mr. Gaura, I want to have the last word from you. While the BJP may be facing the problem from within with various leaders quitting in, there's a problem which is happening within the family as well. And I'm talking about the Hassan seat, where within the family there has been a contest about who will fight elections from this
It's been
seat.
declared, by the way.
Sorry?
It's been given to Bhavani Swaroop, not Bhavani.
Yes, but we did see a family feud emerge out on that seat when it comes to the JDS.
No, actually,
Yes.
Kumaraswamy ji already cleared to. It's not given to the family people. It is given to the party workers only. So that part is clear. As he promised, he will not give the ticket to the family people. He has given to the party worker only. So there is no question. It was debating from a very long time. And he has retained his words that he has given to the party worker. So that is maybe that will be anyway. The result we have to wait for the results.
Okay.
So the issue of issuing ticket to the family people is no more questions. No, there will be no more family persons. Only 3 people is going to contest. That is Revanaji, Kumaraswamy, maybe Nikhil who is going to contest. Only 3 people. Otherwise, nobody else is going to contest from the family. So and definitely we are optimistic. We are going to win Hassan seat also.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. With that, that's all the time I have. Thank you, Aishwarya Mahadev, Anand Gurumurthy and Mr. T.R. Prasad Gaura for joining us on the show. Well, there's clearly trouble brewing in within the Karnataka BJP. Will the party be able to control in time, or this can have real political costs? With that, it's a wrap. Thank you for watching.
Easy. Let me tell you, it's not at all easy to get away with breaking the law, even for us. We stay within the strict parameters of the law, and that is why the STF has existed for the last 25 years. No encounter has been proved to be fake. And you had seen the incident. Everybody had seen the incident and the gruesome nature of the incident. These fellows had no intention of surrendering. So you can imagine that when the police finally corners them, they will not surrender. They are armed with sophisticated weapons. They are going to fire at us. This time their luck ran out, and they came second best.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Amitabh Yash, thanks for joining us. He's the ADG of Uttar Pradesh STF, head of the team that led the operation today and killed Atiq Ahmed's son Asad Ahmed and his associate Ghulam. Let me now open this up because it's become political. The opposition leaders from Akhilesh Yadav to Asaduddin Owaisi are calling this a fake encounter. Mr. Owaisi has taken this one step further, saying that you haven't killed those who killed Junaid and Nisar, but you're only killing Muslim quote-unquote criminals. Let me go across to Aditi Singh of the BJP, Arvind Kumar Jain is former DGP of UP, Vivek Bansal, senior leader of the Congress, Abbas Haider, Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Aditi Singh, how do you respond to this charge? Let me start with what Asaduddin Owaisi said, that you haven't bothered killing the killers of Junaid and Nisar, but you're only killing Muslim criminals. He is saying that this is entirely communally tinted.
So would you say that Dubey, who was also killed in an encounter, Dubey is a very, very common Brahmin last name. So is he now also a Muslim? So perhaps they should do their research in history before coloring culprits in colors of caste and creed and religion. And that, if anything, is politicization. You want to talk about caste, you want to talk about creed, you want to talk about religion. Why don't you go ask the families of Umesh Pal? Why don't you go ask the families of the gunmen that were killed, brutally killed on the 24th of February? I can tell you one of them was my constituents. One of them was from Raebareli. You want to go ask their mother how she feels about how this is being colored in political light or in light of caste, creed, and religion?
Okay.
So perhaps before politicizing it yourself, you should ask, like, who are you defending? You're defending cold-blooded criminals. You've all seen the CCTV footage. They had no intention of.
I must ask you this question because the Aam Aadmi party said this in a press conference that you are blatantly misusing the agencies. This is nothing but a political vendetta. You are out there to nab the opposition parties in the hunt, for electoral victories ahead of 2024.
So while we talk about this particular case, I must apprise you, this is the same Arvind Kejriwal who used to say कि अगर कानून होता तो लालू प्रसाद यादव आज जेल में होते, who used to say कि ये शरद पवार सबसे करप्ट हैं या पी चिदम्बरम सबसे बेईमान हैं या मिस्टर देन लॉ मिनिस्टर वो सबसे करप्ट हैं, और ये उन लोगों के साथ आज गले मिलकर कहें कि वो सब ईमानदार हो गए, तो वी आर नॉट एट फॉल्ट. इट इज अरविंद केजरीवाल फॉल्ट. नाउ द पर्सन हु यूज्ड टू फील कि ये सब लोग करप्ट हैं, द मोस्ट करप्ट पीपल हु आर बीन अरेस्टेड एंड कन्विक्टेड बाय सीबीआई, टुडे दे आर क्लीन फॉर अरविंद केजरीवाल. उससे उसने कि दूध के धुले हो गए, उनको गले जाके मिलते हैं. एंड नाउ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस केस. ही सेज इट्स अ वेंडेटा. सी, इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल क्लीन केस. Arvind Kejriwal, being a chief minister, is the only chief minister of this country who is not signing a single file, single document. Why? Because he knew that the money he's collecting may be from a liquor scam, from a bus scam, from a school scam, or from a power scam. One day he has to pay it. He has to pay for that. And that's the reason he's not signing any document. And when you come to this particular case, Arvind Kejriwal was the one who constituted the group of ministers committee to make this excise policy. So the three ministers were in this group of ministers committee. One was Manish Sisodia ji, Stender Jain ji, and the transport minister, Mr. Gehlot. So these three ministers constituted a committee. They decided that this is the policy. This policy was actually a tailor-made policy, and that was not drafted by the department. In fact, it was drafted by the people who have interest in this liquor, who are close friends of Arvind Kejriwal. They drafted this policy. They sent this policy through WhatsApp to Minister Manish Sisodia, and then Arvind Kejriwal has handed over that this is the policy and this is the draft, and you have to implement this policy. I'm not saying this. This is C. Arvind, the Danik officer, who before the magistrate has given this statement. The second most important statement here is Mr. Dinesh Arora. Now, who is the Dinesh Arora? Is the BJP guy? No. He is the close associate of Arvind Kejriwal, whom Arvind Kejriwal used to visit on his birthday, on his son's birthday, used to post his pictures with Mr. Dinesh Arora, and suddenly, when the question of this policy arose, he immediately deleted all that pictures. What forced Arvind Kejriwal to delete that pictures? And now what Dinesh Arora is saying, he said कि ये policy जो थी ये साउथ के लोगों के कहने पे बनाई गई, उन्होंने 100 करोड़ रुपए एडवांस दिया, वो एडवांस हमने यहाँ भेजा, इस आदमी के माध्यम से भेजा. And very interestingly, I must tell you one thing, one of the stakeholder in Delhi business had given his 2/3 business to Mr. Arun Pillai.
And Mr. Sirsa, the details that you're putting out, a lot of those details find mention in the FIR and the first round of charge sheet that has been filed. Tushar, I'm coming to you. Well, the political discourse is very sharply divided. On one side, you have the BJP, which says that there are, I can hear one of my guests humming. That's a good humming, but can we continue with the debate, please? All right. Tushar, I'm coming to you. Taking in a view from you, well, the political lines are very clearly drawn. On one side, you have the BJP, which goes on to say that, look, we are not misusing the central agencies. The opposition says, yes, there's been a misuse of the central agencies. None of these leaders, especially from the Aam Aadmi Party, whether it's Satendra Jain, whether it's Manish Sisodia, they've not been able to secure any kind of relief from a court of law. So this entire argument that this is a political witch hunt and a vendetta, there is no prima facie evidence, at least with the courts, even in securing bail, it has not found much merit. Tushar. Am I audible to you, Tushar? Can you hear me? We'll fix that audio. Siddharth Sharma, the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, is finally with us on the broadcast. Siddharth ji, thank you so much for speaking with us. Well, there's a clear argument that the BJP makes. They argue that if these cases are fabricated, there is nothing on record to prove that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal or Manish Sisodia has done anything wrong. Take that before a court of law and get the FIR quashed. But you cannot evade the due process of law. They call this entire optics of being misused, central agencies being misused. This is a witch hunt of, claiming to be political victims while you have done something wrong. Siddharth ji.
Who said? Are you saying that Anusha, that Aam Aadmi Party has done something wrong?
Who am I to say that, sir? Only courts will tell us that.
Fine, good enough. Then
Yes.
obviously Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has already said that he'll be cooperating with the agencies. The question right now, you are also saying that the BJP is also saying that if there is no relief from the court of law, then there must have been something wrong. Then that also holds good for Veer Savarkar and Bhagat Singh in India, because they were also hoisted with cases of breaking this nation by the British. So let's not get into that. The courts will do its. The courts are supposed to dispense justice according to law, and they will do it in the due course. The question here is very simple, that if Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is being summoned by the CBI on the prima facie case that some bureaucrat deemed him, then isn't it also true that Mr. Adani follows the Prime Minister of India on his foreign jaunts? Then the Prime Minister is also liable to be investigated by a JPC. How can you have one law for the Chief Minister of a nation and another law for the Prime Minister of a nation? Just like Aam Aadmi Party is saying that Arvind Kejriwal has done nothing wrong, and the courts will say it, and you are saying that the BJP is saying that if Arvind Kejriwal has done nothing wrong, let the court say it. The same holds good for the Prime Minister also, because Adani and the Prime Minister's hobnobbing.
Mr. Sirsa, I'll come to you. Mr. Sirsa, I'll come to you. Yeah.
Adani and the Prime Minister hobnobbing together is public knowledge. And after the Hindenburg report,
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. It's Friday and you may or may not be partying, but we can tell you who is. American oil companies, they're rolling in money, all thanks to the war in Ukraine. In fact, every time the American war machine feeds a conflict, its oil companies become richer. Tonight, we'll bring you the numbers and the pattern. Also, a story of how chickens come